3 days ago from our current story. That's where we'll begin tonight. Inside of a white-tiled room, pristine, immaculate, antiseptic, perfectly kept. An array of medical tools sit on a shiny table, polished with a chrome finish. There is a figure there, standing before a number of vials. Behind them, large tubes that hold the floating embryos of sheep, goats, and human beings. These infants are not dead. They are being gestated here, kept alive. This room, for all of its pristine cleanliness, feels wrong. And the figure that is standing before the vials is looking down at a series of notebooks. Papers have been shuffled and pushed across this pristine surface, the only mess present. Doctor, would you describe yourself, please?
Of course. Dr. Venus is about 5'7", has white hair, cropped quite close, wears a white doctor's jacket, has very bright red lipstick, not sure where she gets it in the apocalypse, but still exists, and is very slim. His face is very pale, probably hasn't seen the sun in quite a while, and is being very particular about this set of test tubes in front of her right now.
You have before you a number of these tubes. Paperwork is all around you. There is a small black box. A number of lights across it. There's a sound, a beeping, and then you hear a voice. Venus.
Yes?
You recognize the voice as Dr. Josephine Eriks, one of your supervisors. Within this complex, Dr. Eriks calls the shots. Dr. Eriks is in charge of the research team that you are a part of. Your job specifically is to aid in the repopulation of Ironheart, an underground city that is being constructed, one that has been secreted away from the rest of the world, filled with the greatest scientific minds that could have been saved before all of the bombs fell in 1995. These scientists and doctors, they were secreted away by what was left of the United States government, but eventually all of that fell away. And only Nero was left. Nero is a secret to most. A last-ditch effort by desperate people to save themselves against the tide of the dead that have claimed this world, to bring humanity back to the forefront, to take what they see as rightfully theirs. They've not forgotten the world that was, the world that fell. But it can't be done simply by wishing and hoping. Drastic measures have to be taken. Not everyone can be saved. And the world above is a world infected with sickness. Not just the sickness that spreads through the virus, through the black bile, but the sickness that spreads through the way that they live, through the choices that these communities have made, through the madness that has been wrought by those who witnessed the end, saw everything and everyone that they ever loved die. It drove so many of them mad that they can't be saved. But there are resources that can. You see, in the world above, there are abnormalities that have occurred. Strange things have been seen. All of the surveillance that Nero has enacted has shown what you and your group have known for years, that this virus has continued to mutate, continued to change and grow. It's evolved and is evolving much faster than anything you and your compatriots could have ever imagined. And Dr. Eric's voice rings across this box. I need you to come down to the control room.
Certainly. Anything you like, Doctor. Shall I bring any equipment, or is it just a quick tete-a-tete?
This isn't a tete-a-tete at all, Doctor. Make your way to the control room as soon as possible, please.
Of course. On my way.
You make your way down the hall. It's a labyrinth, a maze of white tile. Small black plaques are the only indication of what every single door contains. Here, in this hermetically sealed civilization, you have lived. This has been your life for so long. And thanks to your access, thanks to all the gifts that come with your station, you have seen glimpses of what is outside these walls, what's above you. And you've become very curious. Time and time again, you've made multiple requests. You want to be part of the expeditions. You want to be part of those strike forces that are sent out into the wilds to gather data, subject after subject, for your continued experimentation. But the things that you've seen and the speed with which this virus has mutated and evolved has made you feel as if you're running out of time. Any significant research that's going to be done can't be done here, sealed away from that outside world. You need to make contact directly. You need to know more. If what you believe to be true about the potential repopulation program is true, many of the answers that you and everyone within Nero seek may be at hand. The very salvation of the human race could be yours to discover. You make your way through the hall and eventually make your way to the control room. It's a series of screens that fill 2 entire walls, 30 feet in length each, curved. There are these tiers with computer stations. Quite normal for you. But to any outside of your organization, it would be a miracle. Nero knows what it takes to not only survive, but to thrive, and has the ability to overcome the loss of technology that has occurred in the world above. You were given every advantage. You were given everything that you need when the world fell to progress in ways that couldn't have even happened if you had governmental oversight, if you had others that were not scientifically minded, if messy things like religion got in the way, morality. No, it's been unmitigated success below, here, in the tunnels and the systems that have been carved out of the very earth, like veins leading to a great heart that's pumping in what seems to be a wild, unkempt wilderness. You see Dr. Eric's standing before one of these screens, holding onto a clipboard. There's a sour look on her face. She's never taken a liking to you, but you also know that she isn't very tolerant of some of your more experimental choices. Some of your projects have been difficult to deal with. Your intelligence has never been questioned. But you see, Dr. Eric's has been naturally born, was raised by parents. You were raised by the organization. You were grown, much as you now grow others. Simply put, you've never known the love of a mother or a father. Nero is everything. They made you. And you and Eric's and other like Dr. Eric's never quite see eye to eye. There's something alien about them to you. But the way that they look at you, you know they feel the same. Still, the project is all that matters. Dr. Venus, I'm glad you could take time away from your busy schedule.
Oh, yes, of course, anything for my favorite supervisor. So what's going on up here?
It seems as though you're going to be granted your request. Against every single letter I have sent, they have seen fit to assign you to Daedalus.
Oh, well, that's good news for me. I'm sorry you don't approve, though.
I do not. You know that.
That's too bad.
Your purpose is here.
Well, I've been down here this whole time, my whole life. Think it's okay for me to pop up every once in a while?
You know better than that. Your sarcasm isn't appreciated. If you were out there, it's going to be at least a year in decontamination. You will be held. Your projects, everything that you've worked for down here, will be put on hold. Passed to your lesser subordinates, who are not quite as talented as you are. The repopulation of sectors 7 and 12 will come to a halt. I don't like you. You know this. But I'm honest about it. I would prefer that you deny this request.
And why should I do that? I know my projects will be on hold for a little while, but what's a year, 2 years? If we can figure out a way to absolutely cure this little virus that's been so pesky our entire lives, what's the cost of just a little time?
Is that what you want? To cure?
Well, cure and make better. That is the whole purpose of the project, is it not?
There it is. Yes, of course. To expand. To repopulate. That is the nature of the project. Not to experiment. Not to improve. Without control.
Of course, yes. That also is part of it. But if we let humanity take its own course, then this will just happen again. That's what happened in the past. It'll just repeat itself. So, I think the most diligent solution is to chase after a better way, a better kind of person that we could make. I was made. Look at me. I'm doing great. And there could be more of me. People like me. Healthier versions of me. Immune versions of me. That could be quite a wonderful world.
That's the difference between you and I, Doctor. I may not approve of your methods, but I don't see a difference between you and me.
Everyone's a little different, which is great. It's wonderful for people to have differences, but we should try and attempt with science to squash out those things that are undesirable.
The dead are undesirable, Doctor, and that is our purpose, so that life may continue. I wonder if you've forgotten about Omega, what happened just 3 months back with your enhancements.
Oh, I didn't forget, but I learned. And we can't make progress without making a few mistakes. What's that analogy about something about eggs?
You did more than break a few eggs. An entire research facility had to be neutralized. 74 subjects, healthy subjects, were put in the dirt. Your indiscretion, Doctor, your recklessness, your lack of concern for what the project needs. These things concern me greatly. And while our supervisors may see it differently and may be blinded by some of your more impressive successes, I am not convinced. And so, while you may be granted your request, I have been granted one of mine.
Oh, what's that?
Alpha is going to be joining you. You're going to be supervised by someone of my choosing. They're going to be right next to you every step of the way. And in fact, despite the clear disconnect that we're going to have in communications on your little sojourn, I can promise you, Alpha will keep me informed.
Well, good for you. You've got a little bird on the outside. Because you don't want to go yourself? We make a great team out there.
Is there anything else that you require before we relocate you?
No, but I have earmarked some of my favorites, the embryos in there. Some of them are going to be great, some of them not so great, so make sure you keep an eye on that as they're growing. And to address your concerns about Project Omega, I don't not feel remorse. I just don't feel the need to dwell in the past like you've natural born. It happened. We'll learn from it. We'll move on. Because if we dwell in the past, it seems like only bad things happened. Gotta move forward.
Dr. Eriks gets very close to you, Venus. Bad things happen in the future, too. We've seen that. Bad things can happen. And when you're out there, alone, in that world that you are so curious about, you should take care. Accidents are very, very common.
Doctor, I'm always very careful. Thank you for the warning, and I'm sure Alpha will protect me.
Yes, Alpha will. The doctor backs off. The doors behind you open, and the soldier known as Alpha is standing there. Black, glossy armor with a visage of a skull across the helmet. This hermetically sealed armor is the calling card of every one of the group known as the Spectres. Spectres are soldiers that are not only bred but trained to be able to carefully, quietly, enter into the wilderness, to gather the resources that are necessary and to bring them back to the scientific research facilities that pepper this place, once known as Pennsylvania. You're right under their feet. And now, Alpha is going to lead you to the world above. Soldier looks at you. I have orders to take you straight away, Doctor. Are you prepared?
Oh, yes. I've been waiting my whole life for this very moment.
So Dr. Eriks has said. Come along. And Alpha guides you.
We're going to have great fun, you and I.
Alpha says nothing. Walks heavily next to you. The sound of their armor, though it is cushioned, it's heavy. You're led into a series of preparations. It takes about a full 24-hour period to prepare you for the outside. You're put through decontamination even before entering your suit. And then you're hermetically sealed inside of armor of your own. Other than the visage of a skull, though, you have a different helmet. One that you're able to control more directly. It has visors that are able to magnify. You have night vision. You're also able to adjust the screen that covers your face. A mirrored surface when you choose to make it unseen, but with a touch of a button on your arm, you're able to make it translucent, clear, so that you can show your face to those who might need it for that special bedside manner that you're known for. You're prepared and you're loaded up with a group, an excursion group known as Daedalus. There are 13 soldiers, 2 additional researchers, and a pilot. Alongside that, there are 4 drones. The drones are released and fly through the night sky ahead of you. They're large, quiet things, shaped almost like missiles. They have these elongated wings and motors, but they're quite quiet and able to very directly control their movements from above. The cameras on board each of these drones give you complete and utter recon before your team enters into any space. You first are taken on a helicopter. You're taken to a remote destination and then through that led to a very large armored APC. This troop transport vehicle is kitted out with everything that you would need. It's a mobile research station. The helicopter carries half of the soldiers onward. The pilot is speaking to Alpha. Alpha, we're about 7 clicks away from our target destination. We're going to take the side routes across the river. We're going to follow unseen, and then we're going to deviate. Damocles will meet us there on the northern shores. This river town is going to be encapsulated. We already have agents in place. We're going to place a containment fence around the outskirts of both banks. It's going to make sure that we don't lose any stragglers. When you're ready, Alpha, your team will be released into the wild. When you're ready, send up the flare. We'll extract you. Affirmative. Doctor, as you watch the screens, the feed from the drones, you see a small community. Rope bridges, wooden buildings built onto the water itself. 2 sizable suburbs built onto the sides of this town on either end of the north bank and the southern bank of the river itself. Quite industrious. You can see a number of boats and rafts making their way through the river. You see some small torchlight and fires. The normal movements of a community this size. There are gates, but they pose little threat to you and your people. Whatever weaponry they seem to have acquired will be shown to be entirely ineffective in preventing you from your mission. The lights blink, and your face in the darkness is cast with a flickering light as this river town comes into view. Lenormand, you're inside of the warehouse known as the Hole. Water, river water, has flown around your ankles now. Thankfully, it's draining off somewhere else, but every single one of the holes that were dug to be used as prison cells for you and your companions has been flooded. Your cell has been blown open. You managed to use a number of small handheld explosive devices that you made yourself to free yourself from that captivity. Your sister has been freed as well, along with the small capuchin monkey known as Meg Ryan. However, Flywheel nearly died, was almost drowned in the river water that held them under. If it wasn't for Sennet, who, using his own strength and determination, pried himself out from his prison cell, but in doing so broke his left arm and managed a very nasty gash across his side, one that is weeping heavy amounts of blood. The dirty water around you as you press down on his wounds is red. He's breathing very shallowly, and you've pressed a small locket against his face. Flywheel, you're conscious, but just barely. You're still hacking up river water, trying to catch your breath. You and your capuchin monkey, Meg, have pressed yourself near these large double doors, only to find that you've been chained in. Nathan, someone who was a part of this community once, has betrayed you all. Nearly killed you. Perhaps killed some of you, still. Thankfully, he's no longer here. He released the river water into your cells, but upon learning that Dr. Remi was not amongst you, made a quick egress, leaving you to this escape attempt, which has saved your lives for now. Lenormand, your sister is standing barely in front of these double doors, soaked in river water, hacking and coughing, and you're holding on to Sennet. What do you do now?
I would attempt to take the sheet that I have pressed against the wound and wrap that around Sennet's body so that the gravity and the large, very heavy weight that is the mass of Sennet, can hold it stable better than I ever could.
And while I'm not going to make you make any further first aid rolls, you have managed to staunch the bleeding as best you can. You don't know. You don't know if what you've done has been successful. His breathing is getting shallow, so shallow. His head is above water, of course, and you're holding on to him. His locket is close to him, but he's getting paler and paler. His lips are turning blue. But you're doing everything you can. The question is, do you continue to press against his wounds, or do you try to do something else?
I call out to Flywheel.
Go ahead.
We must switch.
What?
We must switch. You come over here. Hold on to him. I will use one of my explosives on the door.
Yeah, fuck, sure. Fair enough. And Flywheel will come over and switch with you.
I won't make you make a roll either. We have determined a few things, Sennet. You're going to need to make 3 rolls over the course of what's going to be the next hour.
Okay.
If you fail any of these rolls, Sennet is dead. You have 3 competency points, I believe.
I do.
However, others here can give you competency points as long as they're with you. I suggest you use them very carefully. This isn't going to be easy.
Mm-hmm.
By all rights, you should be dead already. You have 4 levels of severe damage. You have a threshold of 0. If anyone even looks at you wrong, you won't need to make any rolls at all.
Got it.
You're not conscious now, but if you succeed on a single roll, you will regain consciousness. From there on out, I suggest you make your choices very carefully. Because of the amount of damage that you've taken, every roll is going to be given 4 dice of difficulty.
Damn. Okay.
The switch happens. You're still pressing down on these wounds, and you notice what Lenormand has already seen. How very pale Sennet has become. Meg Ryan jumps off your shoulder onto Sennet's chest.
Now you decide to be nice. Yeah, fair enough. I know it's bad. That's it.
Her little paw touches his bearded face and looks back at you as she shakes him gently.
Yeah, you like him. I know. We're trying. Looks up at Lenormand. You're really getting the itch today, huh?
I am quite pleased that I'm able to explode so many things today.
Make it
It
big,
has
make
been-
it fast.
It has been a while.
Lenormand, tell me what you do.
I am going to throw an explosive at the door.
Before you do, you've just come through a very harrowing situation. You've been drenched in river water, and you've been fighting for your very life, pulling yourself out of some very, very difficult circumstances. You've managed to do what no one else in this group has done, which is effectively intimidate Zeke and the other guards to the point where they didn't manage to thoroughly search you. So you are carrying a few of these small yield explosives that you love to make. However, I'd like for you to roll 3 depletion dice and tell me if you get any 6s whatsoever.
Oh, well, it's
You want
3.
these guys? Yeah.
I mean,
Go for
is
it.
that not Is that not fine?
White are depletion dice, but you're welcome to use the bullets if you
They're
like.
fun.
The I don't know, the bullets seem shady.
I
I'm
promise
using
you.
one
Did give
bullet
me a
into
6 last time.
depletion.
I promise you, I only weighted half of them.
That's why this one did that.
4, 5, and a 4.
Okay, so you have no 6s.
No 6s.
Good. I don't have to give you any surprises right now.
I would like to talk to Flywheel right before I throw it, though.
Always good when dealing with explosives. Say goodbye.
I do not know if you heard me while you were struggling to live, while Sennet was, I forget the term that he uses, when he was forcing air into your body and making your heart beat.
Nice.
I do not hold it against you that you did not come to our place for 5 winters. And I need for you to hear that when you are conscious and able to hear me. I know that this is a bigger conversation than we can perhaps have right now. I do not hold it against you, though I would very much enjoy an explanation, which would be nice, that I have never asked for. So I am putting that on, what is the term? I am putting that out there. Yes. I am putting that out there that I would very much enjoy an explanation.
All right. Make it a date.
But perhaps not one that happens at our place during the winter. Yes. I'm gonna throw the bomb.
Go ahead and make an explosives roll for me. It's an advanced skill that you possess. You're very skilled. You're a grenadier as well. It's one of your abilities. We'll take that into consideration as well.
Yeah.
However, I don't have to tell you that this is a precarious situation and that too many degrees of failure in this roll could be devastating.
Since I am throwing it instead of setting it, can I roll throw instead of explosives?
You can roll throw if you like.
Okay. I would like to roll throw because my ability tends to lend towards more throwing than setting and running.
All right. So you activate this, what's effectively a pipe bomb, and I imagine that it's set to trigger on impact. So you make it active so that it's live, and you hurl it forward at the doors.
32, and I have a 45.
Okay. So you have...
And then with my grenadier, there's other things.
Yes. So we're going to call that 2 degrees of success. Would you like to add any competency to make it 3 degrees of success?
Well, I'm gonna go ahead with my throw ability of grenadier, which adds another damage dice to the throw.
Yes.
Along with the explosive. So then I will just roll 3 damage dice for the door.
I'm not going to make you roll for the damage at all, but I will take into consideration that it does have amplified damage because of the accuracy of your throw. You have 2 degrees of success. Is that all that you wish to have?
That is all I wish to have.
It's more than enough to hit the door without a problem. It's a good throw. It explodes. And as it does, it blows these, crudely welded doors straight off their hinges. There's a loud rumble and shake. Dust flies off of the doors themselves. Smoke is everywhere. But as it clears, you can see out into Rivertown and all of the fires beyond.
Rivertown is on fire.
Many of the buildings out on the river have been set ablaze, slowly burning from the southern shore, moving closer and closer to all of you on the northern. You hear screams gunfire. You see the silhouettes of many of Lincoln's people rushing, struggling to not only take buckets and buckets of river water, dumping them onto the structures, but you notice something else too. Many of the rope bridges and walkways are gone. Dr. Remi, you're inside the infirmary. You've been there now for what feels like an eternity, separated from Sennet, Lenormand, and Flywheel. Jaden brought you here, secretly, unbeknownst to the others within his group. Jaden is the son of Lincoln, the leader of this community, and has asked a favor of you to save the life of a stranger, a man who was pulled from the wilderness. This man, he was armored in the same way that that stranger was, outside of the wreckage of the helicopter that led you to Starburst. He was riddled with bullets. You managed to pull them forth from him, and you've saved his life. He was conscious for just one moment, and he asked you one question. Where is she? Before passing out again into the darkness. You used his thumbprint to open the box that you now have possession of. A series of vials held under a very strange mechanism. This box, it contains a number of vials. One of them, you're certain, is black bile, the same ichor that leaks forth from the Romeros. One of them, for all intents and purposes, seems to be blood, but the other two, strange, blue, swirling liquid. They seem to be some sort of synthesized chemical. Something unnatural. You have possession of this box now, along with the journal. Dr. Pascal's journal. Your mentor. Something that you've carried with you since the world fell. Something that has guided you forward in your research. Something that has brought you here. You and Sennet have worked together secretly amongst the rag and bone for years to try and make a difference. What is it that you believe, Dr. Remi?
I think there's a way to get back the science that we lost, to get back the vaccines, even just the measles one. That's what started all of this. Our son, Sennet, and my son died of a very simple measles infection. There was no medicine to treat him. He passed away about a year ago. And it's 3 months, a little more than 3 months, what it would have been his 4th birthday. And thinking about all that humanity has lost, all of the technology, the science, and now newly discovering this person, Starburst, who is immune, I can finally see a small glimmer of hope. That maybe there is a cure. Maybe there's a future. But I don't know how we're gonna get out of this place for now.
This strange young woman, barely an adult, a child by any standard, has been raised in the wild. Starburst. But she was taken by these outsiders, these people in the skull masks. Held against her will, and from what you've gathered from her before she found herself in this coma, experimented upon, actively and intentionally infected, bite after bite from the severed corpses that are brought from the outside world. her blood was taken, and she became little more than a tool to these outsiders. And she didn't trust you because you're a doctor, but eventually, seeing that she had no hope of getting out of the situation without you, she found a way. She accepted your help. And now she lies here, unconscious, next to one of the men that might have been responsible for the state that she finds herself in. His wounds are bandaged, but you've noticed something different. One of them on his neck, towards the back of his spine. It's not a bullet wound. It's an inexact and rough scalpel cut. And then damage all around the surrounding tissue. I need you to make an advanced medicine roll for me, please.
Okay. It's 2 degrees of failure. Okay, way to start.
Would you like to ride those 2 degrees of failure out?
I'm going to have to. I can't use all my competency this early. So I will take the failures.
You're not sure why this is here, but it's not the sort of wound that you would acquire on a battlefield. Someone did this. Someone intentionally, almost surgically, although very poorly, made this incision. They didn't even manage to suture it back up. It's just bleeding.
Alright, well, he passed out again, so that's good. We should probably not keep him in the same room as Starburst. Can we leave now? Are we done here?
Jaden is by the door. He's got it open just a crack. He's chained it up from the inside to protect you and those inside this infirmary. It's just the 4 of you. 2 of you are completely unconscious. There are some gurneys and some wheelchairs, some other medical supplies here, but moving both of them would be very difficult. You can see that. Jaden looks back to you, looking out. You can see concern clearly on his face, and you can now, as he steps forward, see that he has his rifle drawn and held close.
What's the matter?
We need to get back to the hole.
Okay, but we have to separate these 2. If he wakes up again...
I can't have you leave them. You're gonna have to stay with both of them, and you're gonna have to stay here.
What?
There's nowhere else safe to take them, Doctor.
What? Just throw in my old quarters. What's going on out there?
We're
What's
under
going on out
attack.
there? But Romero's?
No. Romero's don't set fire to things. Listen. Now you hear gunshots in the distance and shouting. Someone else is here, Doctor. It's not just us. And
shit.
I can't leave them in those cells.
Yeah, okay.
I have to go get them.
Why can't I go with you? We can just lock them up in here. I mean, I can be useful. I can go and help.
You're too useful, Doctor. If
not
anything
useful
happens to you, they're going to die. And what if when I get there, other people need your help? Well, if you're injured or killed or shot, I can't keep my eyes on you and do what needs to get done to get them here safely. So, Doctor, I'm not trying to tell you what to do. You're free as far as... Do you want to go? Do you want to take one of them and leave? Where are you going to go, Doctor?
Okay. Let's... How far is it from this building to where the cells were?
Unfortunately, Dr. Remi, you're on the southern bank. The hole, if you recall, was on the northern bank of the river.
Okay.
So there is a river between you and the others.
Damn it. Alright. I can't leave Starburst here. I can't have this guy who's trying to kill her in here at the same time. Can you at least, I don't know, scoot him out the door or something? If the town is under attack, what was the point of saving him?
We can kill him. Jaden steps towards him.
I mean,
Is that what you want? We'll just...
I don't want any of this!
We need answers from him, but if it's the difference between you and Starburst being safe, then I agree, Doctor. I'll just kill him now. And Jaden kind of hesitantly raises the rifle and points it at the man in the bed. Just say the word, Doctor, and I'll do it. You don't. It's not your. This isn't on you. It'll be on me. But we have to make a decision, and we have to move fast.
Go help my friends. It's more important. I'll tie him down. Just come back here as soon as you can. Bring everybody.
All right. Jaden walks up to you and gives you a pistol. If he moves, shoot him.
Yeah.
Don't open the door for anyone. I don't think Nathan was the only one here.
Great. Some town you've got.
My father tried.
Not hard enough. Go.
There is a sadness on Jaden's face as he turns, but this young man carries himself as if he were 20 years older than he is. There's a weariness as he walks out the door, unlocks it, and then locks it again.
Is it unlockable from the inside?
There's a ring of keys sitting next to a small table by the doors. You would assume that those keys would allow you to unlock that door, but you don't know. He didn't say anything about it.
As soon as he leaves, the first thing I do is I try to secure the unknown soldier. I try to tie down his arms and legs in case they wake up. There's at least some safety I can have there.
Right. You find a series of old ratchet straps that are used for trucks to carry large payloads. You've seen them used on many of the rafts and the boats to secure cargo loads. There's a number of them here, probably from the medical supplies that are in this room, but you take the two of them and you manage to lock down this stranger's arms and legs. He's secured.
After that, I take however long it takes to figure out which key opens the door so that I can do that when it's time.
All right. You take a few minutes and shuffle through this large key ring, but eventually you do find the key that unlocks the lock. There is no chain on it at this time. If you wanted to, you could put the chain back. It would secure the inside so that no one else could get in without your permission.
I leave it for now. I want to be able to leave quickly if I need to. But just in case, I gather my bag that has the notebook, the vials, which I've separated from the box. And is the box still beeping, or did it stop?
There's a very quiet, continuous beep and that red light. It's still there, Doctor.
I try to destroy it.
The entire box.
Just the device in the front.
How do you do that?
I try to find something hard, metal, and just try to smash it. Or kick it in. And the vials are out. The vials are in my bag.
You've taken the vials out.
Yes.
And you pick up a metal chair. And you start to hammer it against this box. The lock hoping to smash it. Go ahead and make a lift pull.
But it's so small. It's like 5 degrees of failure. My lift pull is 17.
So, would you like to continue with this 5 degrees of failure, or would you like to mitigate some of this?
I think I have to use one competency so I don't hurt myself.
That's exactly what would happen.
That's all I'll use for now.
All right. So you use one competency to prevent yourself from doing something clumsy. But the chair does smash down and the box breaks. With 4 degrees of failure, you think you've succeeded.
Incredible. All right, and then I guess I wait.
You're watching your 2 patients. Both of them are still. Both are breathing. Both are secure as you can make them. And you wait. There's a knock a moment later.
I draw the pistol. Who is it?
Lenormand, you're looking out into the night as the fires burn across Rivertown. The docks on the northern side are not yet on fire, but the southern side has a number of fires that have broken out. Make a spot listen check.
I rolled a 7. My
How many
spot listen
degrees?
is a 55.
Very well. We'll call that 5 degrees of success. Now you have 2 options.
I'll take the competency point.
You know I didn't offer you a competency
You
point
didn't
yet,
even wait.
but I will give it to you anyway. You can have a competency point. However, you also hear something. Very quiet whirl, like a rush of air. 2 of them now, and they're somewhere above you. And in the night, though it is dark and only the burning fires around you illuminate much of anything, you see small shapes circling above. Dark, black forms flying over you like vultures. But these are no birds. There's something else.
Helicopters.
No. You have seen pictures. You've seen the burning images on the screens of your childhood from the movies that you watched. You've never seen anything like these. They're too small for people. Just shapes. They're certainly handmade, not natural. But somehow, they're flying quietly above you. That whirl seems to be some sort of propulsion. Like a helicopter, but not.
But they are too small for people.
I'm hearing screams. Did you do that?
Not this time. There are things that are in the air, too small to hold people, but yet they fly. I do not...
Bird?
No, they are not birds. They are definitely human-made. I do not understand the purpose of them unless... Toys of some kind? Something that a child would... Like a whirligig?
Can you get one?
They are far too high in the sky.
I need a spot listen check from you, Flywheel.
Oh. Okay. That's a 27 for as well a 55, so 3 degrees of success. 2? Yeah.
As Lenormand turns to talk to you, you see a small, burning red fire. A dot moving across their chest and up
Duck!
towards their forehead.
Down, down, down!
I immediately duck and fall to the ground.
I'd like for you to make a dodge roll.
I rolled a 12.
Whoa.
My dodge is a 35.
2 degrees of success. You drop to the ground as this rush of air moves through your hair. You feel heat for a brief moment, and a very small trickle of blood pours down your forehead as you realize that something has burnt you. Just a small cut, but you hit the ground just in time to evade the bullet that nearly cracked your head open like a melon. You're on the ground. You know somehow they've shot at you. You're familiar because of the Citadel, what a silencer can do. These are different. What do you do now that you're lying on the ground in the doorway?
Flywheel. This town is fucked. We have to go.
Well, yeah, see, I know you wanted to escape, and so do I, but maybe
was
we
just
should
shot
close
at.
those doors?
I blew them open.
There are no doors.
Fuck.
It is time to go.
I got about 200 pounds of dead weight right here.
I have done my best to bind the sheet around Sennet. Sennet has much honor. Perhaps we should grab Janet Jackson, the wagon that we came in with, and see if we can come back to collect Sennet. But now we have got to go.
Sorry,
and perhaps
dude.
our weapons are also there.
Pat Sennet's cheek and stand on up.
As soon as you release the pressure, Sennet, I'd like for you to make one single roll.
Okay.
This is the first of 3
Uh-huh.
that are going to determine whether or not you're going to make it out of this at all.
Okay.
You had an advantage in that others were aiding you, but as soon as that pressure is off, you're on your own.
Aren't we in a
that's rude.
formation?
No, Sennet is not in a formation with you. Sennet is far from conscious and is unable to be in a formation at all. However, you and your sister and Meg Ryan are welcome to form a formation as soon as you like. But not yet. Sennet,
Yes.
do you have resist pain?
I do.
Would you prefer to roll that or endurance?
I will roll endurance.
Then let's have you do that.
Does this have the difficulty dice?
No,
Okay.
this is a straight roll.
That would be 4 degrees of success.
4 degrees of success.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
You aren't conscious yet, but your eyes are fluttering as you lie in this pool of water, wrapped in the sheet, left in this dark room. Lenormand, Flywheel, do you leave?
We're working on it. I don't like whatever's out there, and I want to try to get a beat on what it is and how we can stop it before we exit.
I believe we are about to have a disagreement, and I don't think we have time to have one. About this town. The only person in this town that we have any fealty is such a strong, that is not the right word that I mean to say, loyalty to, is Jaden, Sennet, Dr. Remi, and ourselves.
Sure.
Sennet, we have bound as well as we can.
Great.
We will get Rhythm Nation, we will bring it back, and we will take care of Sennet in that way. But right now, I was just shot at, and we need to go.
Right. I really want to get them
I was
so
shot
they
at
don't
from that
shoot at
direction.
us, you know?
We should go out the back way.
Is there a fucking back way?
I will make a back way.
Yeah, cool.
I need you both to make search checks.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
The dice want us to live. That's all I have to say.
They do. I rolled a 14.
I did not roll that well, but
My search is a 35.
How did you do, Flywheel?
39 on 65, so that's 2 degrees of success.
14, 35. Is that also? Is that 3? Maths. Is that 2 or 3 degrees of
2, I
success?
think.
14 from 35. I don't have any recon gear. So.
Both of you are searching. Outside, you hear movement. But you hear something else inside. Water draining. There's a large metal workbench. And it sounds like water is rushing very quickly somewhere else.
Empties out somewhere, right?
That is the way out. I will speak to Sennet before we go. Who is, as far as I know, unconscious. Sennet, you have much honor. You are not being left to die. You are being left to live. We cannot carry you as you are. If anyone other than us or Remi, Dr. Remi, that was quite familiar of me, comes, then pretend to be dead.
He's doing a really good job.
Very good job, actually. We must go.
Where do you go?
Love to check out that hole.
Hole.
We're gonna follow.
Not
where-
I said
big
you
one.
heard a sound behind a large metal workbench.
Oh, we gotta move that workbench, don't we?
You do.
Any tools on there I can use to get
Yes.
some...
Can 2 people and a monkey move a metal workbench?
Thanks to your sister Flywheel, you're able to create a lever and use a certain amount of force
It
to
is-
pry this large, heavy metal workbench
It is one
away
of
from
the
the wall.
essential simple machines.
Yes.
Yes.
One of the most essential, but not necessarily one of the quickest. I need you both to make a lift pull,
Oh.
as together you are pulling this enormous metal desk, this workbench, away from the wall.
Now...
I'd also like for you to roll 3 blue dice
Sure.
as we determine your speed in doing so. I myself am going to roll 2 blue speed die.
I will also ask, I have jury rig, which gives me like proficiency with making simple machines out of things that are maybe not used.
I'm going to give you a
is there-
single degree of success then to
Fantastic.
start with. Jury rig is going to allow you a little advantage in this moment.
Great.
Ugh.
Well, not very good at lifting and pulling. There it is.
How bad is it?
Since that's
That would be 5 degrees of failure, which is 4 degrees because of that success.
You are correct. It is only 4 degrees of failure. You're not going to hurt yourself necessarily.
Right.
But that all depends on Lenormand here.
well, there it
We
is.
got like almost the same
You
thing.
know, it was a really good run there for.
I'm going to
for a
assume that
bit.
collectively you both have 5 degrees of failure.
I rolled an 80 on a lift pull of 35, so that's 4 degrees of failure, not 5.
4 and 4 is 8. I could give you 4 and 4, 8 degrees of failure. However, I'm only going to give you 5
That's
collectively
very
as you're
kind.
doing this together.
Should we spend some competency points?
It's a great question.
I'd love to spend 1 so we don't hurt ourselves.
I will
at
also
least.
spend 1, so that's 2.
2.
So that brings us to 3.
3 degrees of failure then?
Obligatory location hazard question?
Not yet.
I was shot at within this space, which was.
If you'd like to step outside of this warehouse,
Right.
you'll find yourself in a
Sure.
location hazard.
It does not matter to me either way.
I'm good with letting it ride at 3 degrees of failure if you're good.
I can make a decision for you if you're not happy with how the dice are deciding it.
I will use one more to make it 2 degrees of failure.
2 degrees of failure then.
13 on my blue speed dice.
12 on mine. Oh.
Both of you are struggling. This is a monumental task, and you're straining and unable to pull this desk away any more than 6 inches off the wall. But when it's up off the wall, even though it's dark in here, you can hear that water rushing down somewhere else. Meg Ryan leaps off your shoulder, squeezes through that small 6-inch gap, and disappears. You can hear echoes.
I'm glad someone's getting out of here.
Well, I could try exploding it. However, I think that might collapse where we are trying to.
Right.
So perhaps we should simply try again.
Possibility. How many floors is this building? Just one?
There is a catwalk along the top of the warehouse itself with a series of tall metal ladders in each corner. It isn't a second level per se, but it is an observation walkway, so that anyone who is keeping track of the prisoners is able to see down into the holes.
Right. I mean,
It does appear to be a better option than trying again.
there's gotta be something up there.
I believe we should try.
Yeah, we'll go up.
Also, I know that we do not talk about this, and probably this is not the most opportune time to. However, I did make friends in the place that I was at, and that is why my hair is red now. My main friend has fire engine red hair, and
I want to go up this ladder.
I follow.
You scramble up the ladder. Three small canisters roll into the open doorway. They splash into the water before they begin erupting thick clouds of smoke. The entire room is filled.
That's a problem.
What kind of smoke is it?
It hasn't gotten to you yet.
Okay.
Sennet, make another endurance check, please.
Oh boy.
Okay. Ooh, that is 2 degrees of failure.
How many competency do you have?
I have 3, so I will use them, so it's a success.
1 degree of success. You can hear Sennet coughing. But through the spurt and sputter of this hacking, you can tell that he's still alive before he goes very, very quiet. You're on the walkway.
Can I just say this sucks? Like, real quick, right before we do anything. This sucks ass.
You have
This is not optimal.
I-
in
The
any way,
least
shape, or form.
amount of time possible to make a
Ramble
decision
down
before the smoke
the
achieved.
ladder,
You're
and I
going
want-
down?
Yeah.
Wait,
there's-
What
yeah.
are you doing? There is literally nothing that we can do. You have no weapons. They are coming.
I scramble down the ladder.
Into the smoke. I need you to make an endurance check immediately.
Sure.
What do you do, Lenormand? Your sister has just gone down into the fog that's been created in this dark room.
Lenormand continues on the walkway and is looking down, trying her hardest to see from just the movement of the smoke where her sister might be.
You're moving along this walkway, and you see a hatch under the roof.
Ah, shit.
Do you continue watching where your sister might be?
I check the hatch to see if it will even open.
Swings outward. You see the night air. You can see the orange glow of the fires off in the distance, the glimmer of the water from the river. There's another walkway here, one that goes around the outside of the building. I'm going to count to 5.
I call
5.
down to Flywheel. There is a
4.
hatch here.
3.
I will find a way inside from the outside. And I climb through the hatch.
You move outside. Having shouted down into the smoke and the darkness exactly where you were going. Dr. Remi, you're waiting. The gunfire has gotten a lot quieter. It's more sporadic. Jaden hasn't returned. It's only been a few minutes. But I need you to make a spot listen check.
It's 2 degrees of failure.
So you're watching your 2 patients very closely.
Yeah.
You still have competency though, don't you?
I do. Is this the time to use it?
I can't answer that question for you. I can simply ask you, would you like to spend any competency points in this moment?
I will go ahead and do that. I will spend all 3. Get 1 success.
You're spending all 3 of your competency?
Oh, I only have 2 left, but...
Yeah.
Never mind, I let it ride. I can't do anything about it.
Now, Doctor, I don't want you to move. Just stay where you are. Nathan's voice echoes through the dark infirmary.
What are you talking about, Nathan?
I'm here to help you.
Do what?
Escape. You see, despite you and Sennet and what you did, I know there's still a place for both of you. There's a place for you in the valley. I'd like to show it to you. And as you carefully watch, he steps out of the shadows. And there are 2 figures with him. One of the beds has been moved to the side, and there's a hole in the wall that leads out into the night.
Incredible. There was a hole in the wall this whole time. Nathan and your guests. Did you see me first, or did you see the others first?
Nathan is holding Lenormand's cattle prod, and it shocks as he looks back to you. I'm going to help you now, Doctor. I just need you to stay where you are and not do anything stupid. I want to help you. Let me help you.
I stay where I am. I know I'm outnumbered. I can't fight. Nathan, why can't you just leave us be? I'm okay here. You can go your own way, and we'll be fine. Just let me stay here and help those who need help in this community. Can't we just leave each other alone?
You see, you've already been judged. It isn't for me to decide. I tried, but you didn't want the gifts that we could give you. So now you have a place amongst the children.
No, Nathan. I still don't want to go with you. I shoot.
You draw your weapon up and you pull the trigger. You do so very quickly. But I need you to roll 2 blue speed die and your pistol skill. You have 2 competency remaining, and Nathan is about 30 feet away.
Okay.
He doesn't seem to be holding a gun, and the 2 figures that he came with are in the shadows. You haven't really been able to see them clearly yet. But it also doesn't look like they're holding weapons pointed to you.
Can I get my +1 competency from my research ability? I'm not actively researching, but it says I just get it if I'm inside of a scientific research facility or laboratory.
I'm going to give you 1 competency for being inside of this medical facility.
Okay. Oh my god. Okay, my speed was 6. I rolled a 16 under 47, so that's 3 degrees of success.
3 degrees of success.
Sorry, 4? Is that...
Yeah, 16 under 47?
Or no, sorry, under 35. I'm
Oh,
looking at the
okay,
wrong
okay.
number.
Yeah.
So 3 degrees of success. How many? I'm sorry, 30.
So sorry, 16 over 30.
So you have 2
5,
degrees of
2,
success.
right?
Yeah, 2 degrees of success. But you still have competency points.
I use that extra one that I have for being in the research facility.
You're going to make it 3
Yes.
degrees of success. If you were to make it 4, we could make this a headshot,
I make it 4. Yeah.
leaving a single competency point remaining.
Yes.
All right.
Nothing against Omar, but Nathan gotta die.
Sorry, Omar.
Nathan gotta die.
Because Omar's character is so good.
We love you. Nathan gotta die.
I'd like for you to roll damage for me. You get 2 for the pistol, but you've done mortal damage as a headshot, so roll 5 red dice in total and add them together.
Oh my god.
4, 5, 6,
Remember
7, 8,
that this is a D5, so any of the hunter's marks are exploding dice, and you re-roll them, adding 5 to the total.
20, oh, sorry, 14, 29, and 29 plus 5 is 34 total.
34.
Oh my god.
How much HP does Nathan have?
Same as everyone else, 5.
Like 1? Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've far surpassed his damage threshold multiple times. The back of Nathan's head explodes across the back wall as he falls dead to the ground, dropping Lenormand's cattle prod. You hear whispering.
You two need to leave. It's over here.
They creep back through the hole, away from you, into the night. You never see their faces.
Okay, fuck this. I start to try to get Starburst into one of the wheelchairs that are in this room.
You then smell the smoke.
Oh.
You're in a metal container.
Yeah.
But the fire seems to be right outside.
I open the door, I unlock it, and try to go out the front.
You rush to the door. Flywheel.
Hiya.
Your eyes are watering, you can't see. You're holding your breath because every time you try to intake air, it feels like your lungs are on fire. There are shapes, but it's hard to see anything clearly. But you can hear the ragged breathing from Sennet not far from you. Tell me what you're going to do.
Here's the thing. Sorry, I didn't come down here for you.
I'm unconscious.
These people are expecting us to try to escape. They don't know how many people are in here. I want to run out that front door and try to make them think that I'm the one in there so that my sister can escape. I got 3 degrees of failure. I would like to spend 3 competency points. Well, am I in a location hazard?
Definitely.
4 competency points to make that 1 success.
You rush out the door. The red laser lights move across the ground, and as soon as you step out, move upwards, across your chest, towards your head. You get blinded for a brief moment as these red lines, at least 3 of them, move towards you. And then you hear the gunshots somewhere in front of you, and the shouting. No! As Jaden rushes across one of the few remaining walkways, running towards you, firing wildly in all directions. The lasers immediately whip away from you and fire into Jaden, as his body, like a rag doll, dances across the platform and falls into the river in front of you.
Motherfucker.
You have 1 action. You just remember the small amount of time that you've gotten to spend with him. Rivertown was special to you. You and Jaden could have been something. You don't own people, but you can love them. You can celebrate them when you're together. You and your sister live out there, not in here. It was always your hope that eventually he'd listen to you.
That he'd come with us.
You remember quiet nights holding hands, secretly, so that Lincoln didn't know. The little gifts that you would pass back and forth. The messages that other Rag and Bone would carry for you while you were on the road. Little things. Telling you about how special he thought you were. How maybe soon his father would come to understand how important it was to have people out there, not just in here. And that not everybody from the outside meant danger.
I didn't believe it would happen, but it was fun to watch him talk. It was nice. He was nice.
He was nice.
Yeah, I'll run around to the back.
These silent whirls of air surround you as you run. The same sharp breaks that you know accompany their bullets. Jaden was just torn apart in front of you by their gunfire. You know what these weapons can do. They're powerful. Holes the size of softballs rip through flesh wherever they land. You can't dodge a bullet. You can run and hope for the best. But Flywheel, I don't think you're going to make it. But I want you to surprise me.
Oh, man.
What skill would you bid?
Oh. What's around me?
Outside of the hole, there are a series of crates. But they're about 20 feet away from you. There are large coils of rope. There are a number of barrels, empty. In front of you, maybe 20 feet as well, is the riverbank.
All right. I know that these things are what's shooting at me. And I know machines very well. And something that I know about them is that they are programmed by people. And because they're programmed by people, they can't always be perfect. And they can't always be right. If I've got barrels around me, I want to try to knock into them so that they roll all around me as I try to make my way towards the riverbank.
And please let me know if I've made it to the roof yet.
It's hard for you to tell, Lenormand, what's happening. Again, a lot of this was silent. You did hear the shouting and the gunfire from Jaden, but we'll come to you in just a minute. You certainly won't be there quite soon enough to keep what's about to happen from happening, but you might watch it happen. Flywheel, what skill are you offering to use to do this? Is it a brawl? Is it a dodge? Something physical, clearly.
Right. I'd love to use stealth if I could, since I'm trying to kind of hide among these as I follow.
But they can already see where you are. It's hard to be hidden when they know where you are.
Yeah. Let's use dodge.
All right. Make a dodge roll then. Not so much dodging the bullets, but thrusting yourself into these barrels and hoping for the best.
Yeah. Love y'all.
Oh.
Whoop. All right. That is a 45. My dodge is a 25, so that's 2 degrees of failure.
And you're out of competency, aren't you?
I am.
Survival points.
Lenormand, you do make it to the corner of the roof. You heard Jaden scream. You know it was Jaden. Shouting no. And then shooting wildly. But you can't see him. You don't know where he is. You do see these red lines crisscrossing the smoky night. The fire off in the distance, casting these orange hue across the ground. And as you look down, you see Flywheel leaping into these barrels. As her body dances under the immense, silent pressure of the gunfire. The red spray covers everything around her as her back and her skull explode outward. And she dies right in front of you. What do you do?
I think I have to roll a composure check.
Your morale is going to be affected here no matter what, but a composure check might allow you to make a more rash decision. You are a logical creature, Lenormand.
I have coping mechanisms for,
But how do you cope with this?
I destroy things, is how I cope.
Make it count.
Wow, that was, yeah. So, I got a 93. My composure is a 55. So, what is that? 3 degrees of failure?
It is 3 degrees of failure. Do you want to spend any competency, or are you just going to let go?
I'm gonna let go.
All right. What is your morale currently?
My morale is 7.
Lower that to a 2. I believe it's appropriate, perhaps even a little kind of me, to drop it just to a 2. Given the weight of what Flywheel meant to you.
My coping mechanisms are like destroy something or make something destructive, or and also kill someone random. I assume I saw these things that were in the air that did this. I would love to throw something explosive at them.
You can do that. The devices, the strange, not helicopters
These
in the
flying
air,
things.
they didn't do this. The lasers are coming from the southern bank, high up. You know what snipers can do. You've been with the Citadel, and these are not just normal soldiers. These people, whoever they are, they have some astounding technology. You've heard the talk about the people in armor, the outsiders. You're smart enough to know, given everything that the doctor said and what you've learned, that this has to have something to do with all of that. This isn't some random savage attack from raiders. This isn't some dispute amongst communities. This is a slaughterhouse. So you can try to blow up one of these drones if you like. There's very little chance that you're going to be able to get an explosive across the river by throwing it.
I didn't realize they were that far.
It was hard to tell until you were at this vantage point.
And they aren't even the ones that did it. Those things, it was the snipers that are too far away for me to get to, but they can get to me.
You see the red lights again, tracking. One of them finds you and starts to move up your chest. What do you do, Lenormand?
I dodge again. I'm close to the back of the...
You can dodge around the corner back to the roof very easily. You were close enough to cover that this is possible, as long as you don't fail this roll. You will be making this contested. I've already made a roll for the shot.
I rolled a 50. My dodge is a 35. I have... So, wait, 35... Or less,
It's only 1 degree.
less
failure.
1 degree of failure. I have 2 remaining competency points.
It would take both of them for you to succeed. Do you want to use them?
Why not?
For the second time this evening, you have just barely managed to roll out of the way as this hot burst of air cuts across your face. You aren't hit, but you felt the air move from their gunfire as you're leaning up against the side of this tin roof. Sennet.
I'm ready.
For what?
Let's see if I live.
Your eyes jostle open. There's fading smoke, and your nose and mouth are covered in mucus and burn wildly. Your eyes are on fire.
Am I able to move?
Make a spot listen check.
Oh no.
4 degrees. I'm sorry, 4 dice of difficulty, along with that roll, please. Are you able to move? Yes.
Okay, a spot listen. Oh boy. Wow. I know. So that's 10,
2 of them exploded.
10, 15, 20. So that's not, it's 2 degrees of failure.
And you don't have anything left to spend.
I don't have any competency. I have survival points.
How many survival points do you
I
have?
have 70.
How important is this to you?
I mean, I'm going to spend everything I have to survive.
A fair assessment, but the question is it better to spend on this spot listen check or to save those survival points for your next endurance roll?
That is what I would rather do.
So you fail your spot listen check by a number of degrees.
2.
And it doesn't occur to you as your eyes are burning and you can barely breathe and your ears are ringing as you're trying to move around. So you can move. It hurts wildly and your arm is still very, very broken. So what would you like to do, Sennet?
I can breathe okay at this point.
I wouldn't say okay, but you are able to breathe.
I have some first aid training. I want to see if I can tighten the fabric that's around my arm so I can set it a little better before I do anything else.
I'm going to give this one to you for free, Sennet.
Okay.
Fuck the arm.
Ha ha ha.
You're bleeding from a gash across your torso that might take your life if you aren't cautious. You'd be better off spending this moment tightening the very rough dressings that Lenormand and Flywheel left
That's
you.
the one. Yep. Let's do that.
Then make your roll with 4 black dice of difficulty added to it. As you barely conscious are binding yourself tighter and tighter to try and staunch the bleeding.
Wow. Okay. 4 black dice of difficulty, 2 at a time. Holy shit. I got a total of 12. And so I got 5 degrees of success.
Did
on
you?
My first aid.
Competency point.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Look, I'm barely alive.
Sennet, you don't know where this comes from. You hear your stepfather's voice in your head, talking about your mother. About how much he wished more than anything that he could talk to her just one more time. To say those things that he never got the chance to say. He was a broken man at that point, but he was strong for you. But the two of you, after her death, formed this bond. You were very honest with each other, and he didn't treat you like a child. Much of your compassion flourished in those days where you and he would sit drinking coffee in your kitchen, talking together about your mother. And all you can think about is the child you lost, and about the one person still here that you can save from going through the same thing that your stepfather went through. She's still here. And you bind the sheet tightly around your torso. And you're going to live. If you can get help soon enough. You've bought yourself time, Sennet. You know what was wrong. You know exactly which artery was bleeding out, and you've stopped it. But you've lost a lot of blood, and you're in bad shape. And in the back of your mind, you hear screams and gunshots outside, and you know that you're alone.
Oh, no.
And you tighten the sheet as the two armored individuals stand over you and hit you with the tasers.
Wow.
And you go back into that deep sleep once more.
The last thing I do, completely subconsciously automatic, as the lights start to go out, is I reach for the necklace that's no longer there. Because I forgot that I had
You don't know
lost
where it is. It's not with you. You don't know where. We'll be right back. We've already lost one of you. And two of you are in very bad positions. I'll let you decide which of the two I'm referring to.
Oh.
Right?
Lenormand, you found this walkway on the outside of the building. You were supposed to be held here for just one night. One night, and you and your sister would be free. The people of Rivertown will have exacted their punishment for the events of the previous nights, and you'd be free on your way. But now your sister, Flywheel, she's gone. And you're alone. More alone than you've been in years. You've managed to evade the gunfire, but you know it won't last for long. You hear the whirling of those devices, those drones above you, circling, seeking you. I need you to tell me what you're going to do. And I want you to be very cautious, because this is an extremely dangerous situation for you. You have a few explosives left, but not many. And you're not fully armed.
It did not make any logical sense for Flywheel to do what she did. I can take care of myself. I did not need for her to run out the front to take the fire. I did not want for that. And I cannot do anything to those that did this to her. Flywheel has always been there, even when she was not there. She has always looked out for me, even when we were not together.
Someone's climbing the ladder below you. It's very quiet. Dark figure, you can't see them clearly. Just the very gentle, quiet rustle of the metal rungs as this person pulls themselves up closer and closer to the walkway that you're on. They're maybe 30 feet back, away from you, below. The walkway wraps around the back of the building. If you were going to follow it around, you'd have to cross over this ladder that this person is going up. Tell me what you'd like to do.
So the ladder continues up, and I would cross by it while the person is climbing up.
Mm-hmm. It's 30 feet away. They're moving quietly and carefully, so they're not moving very quickly. You could probably move past them. You don't know if they've seen you or not.
I would like to try to move past them. I am being careful. When I am past the opening that they are also being careful on, I would like to drop one of my bombs down towards them while I continue to run towards the back.
So this is a different situation. You have 2 remaining of these pipe bombs. Are you trying to strike the individual, drop it onto them as they climb?
There is no need to strike the individual. I am quite certain that the percussive force of it erupting beneath them.
So you're trying to hit the ground?
I am trying to hit a midpoint. That will most likely devastate this individual no matter what, but they do not matter to me.
I understand.
It is because they are there, and I am so angry right now, and they must hurt. They must hurt the way that I hurt. I will try to escape, but since this person is here, this person will hurt as well. They will hurt. They will bleed. I hope they will die. I do not care who they are or what they have done in life.
If you're trying to hit them in a general area, I want you to roll throw. If you're just trying to hit the ground, we'll let it go, and I'll roll damage. Your choice.
We will just throw it then.
Good. It falls, and you keep moving, correct?
Yes.
There is an explosion. You don't know what happens, but you do hear the rending of metal. Do you look back?
There is no reason to look back. There is no reason to ever look back again.
So you make your way around the corner to the back of the large warehouse. High above on this walkway, the metal rings quietly out as you rush across this tight space into the darkness behind, away from the lasers. But you still hear that whirling above you. You can't see them, but they're not far. When you get to the back, there's no ladder. The walkway continues on to the other side. Do you continue on, or do you do something else here?
There have been many instances with myself and Flywheel where we have climbed trees, we have climbed high, and I believe that we know how to tuck and roll when we fall.
You do, but you're over 20 feet off the ground. You're going to need to, if you wish to descend here, find some way to do so more safely than just jumping. You might survive, if that's what you want to do, but you know better than to think that just rolling is going to prevent any serious injury.
And it continues along the front to where the lights and the snipers can see, doesn't it?
The walkway isn't actually able to continue on towards the front, just the sides and the back, like a U. You moved all the way to the front as far as you could when you saw what you saw, and turned around and came back this way. You're currently at the back of the building, and you're able to walk over to the opposite side from where you started on.
And perhaps there will be a way down there.
Perhaps. If this building is like other buildings that you've been in, there's probably another hatch and probably another ladder leading on the outside down.
And this is not the side that it appears that the snipers can see.
Both of the sides seem to be free of those laser lights for now.
Then logically I would continue on to where I can safely get down, or at least get to a point where I can jump down and have a better chance of being able to run after.
What would you like to do?
I will continue on.
You turn the corner, and you, in the darkness, see it, hovering there, moving towards you. The black shape. The wings have small propellers attached to it. 6 of them. And they're alternating, allowing it to hover as the wings turn downward and sort of just stay there. And you can see a glossy black lens and a small, very small green light you're so close to it that you can even see the lenses shutter adjust as it's clearly watching you as you turn the corner, not 20 feet away.
Is that close enough for a knife throw?
You could throw a knife at it.
Or maybe one of my bolts?
Well, you don't have your crossbow.
I don't have my crossbow, but I have my bolts.
You could throw a bolt. I guess the question is which do you feel more confident in throwing? The knife or the bolt?
I will throw the... Well, I think it's the same for either. So I will throw the knife. I might be able to get another crossbow, but bolts are hard to come by. Harder.
Go ahead and make your throw roll for me as you fling this metal knife through the air towards the drone.
Oh, now you do. Great. I got 21 out of 45, which is 2 degrees of success. I get to add a damage dice, I believe. No, wait, that is...
It's only if it's a weapon, or I'm sorry, explosive.
It's only if it's an explosive. Yeah. Grenadiers throw an explosive and incendiary weapons. Okay, so 2 degrees of success. I have no competency.
Roll 3 damage dice for me, please. Remember, it's a D5. Any H's explode.
6.
You crack the lens as the blade strikes it and bounces off. The drone wavers for a moment and then starts to pull away from you.
I continue.
It's still functioning. You're continuing forward.
Unless I want to now throw a bolt at it.
Make a spot listen check. It's further away. It would probably be harder to hit. You could still try if you wanted.
What? Now? 4. I rolled a 4.
Someone is raggedly...
That's 5 degrees of success because my spotless
You can
is
have
55.
a competency point. As someone is raggedly running along the walkway behind you.
How close am I to the ladder now? The ladder that goes down.
You're about 30 feet away. The person behind you is perhaps 20.
Instead of throwing my last explosive, I kiss it and set it down where it is. So that I believe I have timed it well enough so that it will go off once whoever that is runs by, and I should have reached the ladder by that point. That is not a throw.
No,
that is straight.
I'm not going to make you roll anything at all. You set down the last of your explosives.
And I whisper, Flywheel.
You make it to the ladder. Do you start descending?
Yes.
As you do, the light of the fire is giving you just enough illumination. Because it's rather dark out, despite the fact that it's encroaching on morning. It's got to be early in the morning now, close to sunrise. But you have just enough light to see Zeke turn the corner as the bomb goes off, and they disappear in a fiery ball.
That was for Flywheel, you son of a bitch. And for me. And for Sennet.
Metal twists as the walkway creaks and begins to fall. The ladder along with it. You aren't free falling yet. You're still about 18 feet up off the ground, and you're hanging on to this ladder as it bends and groans as it's hurtling downward. I'd like for you to either make a lift pull to hold on, or a dodge to roll as you fall. As you said, it's something that you and your sister used to do often. Never at this height, but surely it would help.
They are the same, so I will go with I'll do what me and my sister have done so many times, and I will dodge. I will picture her in my mind, the both of us, places that we would climb, how she never told me why she couldn't lift her arm all the way. Whenever I had asked her about that, she would just say, "It's just a bad fall. But this will be a good fall." I wish I had known the story why. I rolled an 11. My dodge is a 35.
2 degrees of success is enough that you aren't going to hurt yourself seriously. You're going to take superficial damage, though.
I will spend my competency point.
If you make it 3 degrees of success, you'll take no damage. You'll be bruised, beaten up a little bit, but for the most part, you'll be okay.
I have to try to escape, so I will use a competency point.
Bringing you to the 3, correct?
Correct.
Yes. Despite being banged up when you land, you do roll, and miraculously, you don't break anything. Your lip is bleeding, and you feel the side of your cheek swelling a little. Your hands hurt and are scuffed, cut with a dozen little rocks that have impaled themselves into your hands as you hit the ground, even through your gloves. But you made it. You're on the bank, not far from the river itself. Behind you is the wilderness, the darkness. In front of you, you hear the water of the river not far off. Where do you go?
I'm sorry, I do not quite understand. Which is to safety? The woods are.
Did I say that there was safety?
For what? Lenormand would.
Are there immediate dangers in front of you?
In my head, I pictured the riverbank and then woods. How is this situated so I know?
To be clear, and I'll explain it better this time. Rivertown has a northern bank and a southern bank. You're currently on the northern bank where they brought you.
Okay.
So when you entered into this place, you were on the southern bank, meaning the wilderness and the rail and the road that brought you here were behind you, entering into the southern gates. The river itself has walkways and buildings that are on fire and missing now, but these buildings are on the river itself, and then on the northern shore there's another suburb, buildings and shacks and other structures that are on the northern shore. So then the forest is on that side, and technically in front of you if you're facing from the southern gate, but currently your back was to that forest. In front of you is the river. To the right is the building that you just exited.
Okay.
To
And
the
then the
left
woods.
is additional buildings,
Additional buildings, not the woods. And
Not
the
the
woods
woods.
is to my back.
and the woods is to your back. Does
And
that
it-
make sense now?
Yes, that does. Thank you for clearing that up. So as far as Lenormand knows with Rivertown, would she then think that the woods would be least likely to be occupied at this point, or running for the water and diving into the current? Or is
Well,
the river not like that?
No, the river is very much like that. It's moving water.
Let's go to the woods.
You turn and start running towards the woods. Now, to be clear, Lenormand does have this information, but it's hard for you to know what's safe and what isn't safe in this situation. You know that they were firing at you from the other bank, so it makes sense to run into the woods
Okay.
this way, because as far as you know, they're not over here. But you know that that machine is overhead somewhere, and that they've seen you. So you start running into the woods. How long do you run? How far do you go? Do you just push forward?
There is no reason to stop. Anytime that I stop, I think I can stop. I can stop and cry and run some more. And then stop and cry and run some more.
Make an endurance check as you run.
.43. My endurance is a 35. So
You don't have any competency left, do you?
I do not. But that's kind of like a wash.
Yeah. You're exhausted, and you're not going to be able to keep this pace up. You slow down. You know you're not going to be able to go much longer. You're still running, but it's not going to last long. You feel fire in your lungs, and tears are running down your face as you think of everything that's just happened, and you push yourself forward, being battered by the branches and leaves around you. You don't know how far you've gone. In fact, everything has just become a blur as light begins to leak around the trees, and you see the silhouettes, and everything has that emerging glow of morning, where for just a moment, all the leaves and plants and the air itself seems to be charged with electricity, and everything looks strange, like it's from another world almost. Greens are much brighter than they should be. As dawn slowly starts to creep out, make a spot listen check.
.43 again. My spot listen is a 55.
You have 1 degree of success.
Yes.
You almost ran through it. You skid to a stop. It's a green laser light. Just across. Right where your knee was. And you stop. It's not like the red lights. What do you do?
I know that these lights are bad. No matter what it is that they do, these lights are bad. I will very carefully step around this light. If it is between 2 trees, I will go on the other side of the trees. If it's somehow longer than that, then I will very carefully
As you move around to the other tree, you see a black stake that's been driven into the ground, and it shoots this beam to another stake, and then it goes off the other direction to another. And as you look, you see that it forms a perimeter.
I step over this perimeter.
It's not very high.
I am very careful not to have any part of my body be in the light.
Very tired, but yes, you do. I'm going to have you make a balance roll as you do so.
Ugh. 52. My balance is a 35.
And you're out of competency, right?
Yes. I have 10 survival points.
It's not enough. Norma, as soon as you step over and start to carefully pull your leg past that green laser, you realize that there's something about it that's different. It's motion activated, and the green laser line immediately raises up along with the posts on either side of you. And there's a fiery explosion. That's all that you see, is the burst of flame. What do you think about in that split moment?
I think about a memory that had never happened, but that I wanted it to. Where in the first winter, I went back to our place, and Flywheel was there and was waiting. And the journal that I had taken with me, each of the 5 times that I went back to our place, was barely full by then, but I showed her everything and she came back with me. And my memory is a memory that did not exist, but it does comfort me. And it is taking her back to the place where I made my friends. And she talks to the man that only loves to talk about 90 movies and anime and taught me so much about explosives. And to my friend Rowan with the fiery red hair who always believed in me. And I think of the 4 of us together, content, where everything makes sense and everything is fair.
That's where you are. It all passes by so quickly. And you see your sister's face in that spot, smeared in grease, happy tears in her eyes, smiling broadly as she sees you again.
And she has our mother's 2-inch socket wrench.
She does. Everything now is gone, Lenormand. In the last moment of your life, nothing matters but that love. Dr. Remi, you were moving towards the double doors on the one side of the infirmary?
Yes, I had, I saw my pistol out and I'm listening at the front door to see if there's anyone waiting out there.
You don't hear anything. But then you hear the knock again.
Oh, shit. I change my mind. I back up. I hurry over to Starburst's body, and I just give her hand a little squeeze. I'm sorry. Please, survive. And I have my things, and I start to make my way out of the hole that I saw the other two people that were with Nathan come through. And I go out the back way.
Smoky. You smell biodiesel. It's been poured all across the crates and barrels that are outside here, and they're all on fire, burning heavily. The smoke is black and thick, still dark, but you're starting to see spreads of pink and purple in the sky. Something up there is moving. There's shapes in the air, encircling Rivertown from above. You immediately start to breathe in this heavy smoke, so you can try to push through quickly, or you can make an endurance check to try to persevere and use the smoke for cover.
I try to move through quickly, but I do try to bring my jacket up to my mouth to cover some of the smoke if I can.
All right. If you're moving through quickly, you won't need to make an endurance check.
Okay.
You burst through, and you're in an alleyway. There are a couple of other buildings here. All these ramshackle huts. These don't seem to be on fire, but you see all of Rivertown burning. The river is on fire. But there's something else. The water doesn't look normal. Doesn't look like water anymore. Shapes are moving. As you realize those shapes are all Romeros, and the river is full of the living dead. An entire swarm that's being washed down river. Some of them are crawling out through the banks now, pulling themselves up through the mud, and you see their silhouettes, but most of them are clogging the water underneath Rivertown as it burns. You see hands reaching up, clawing at the structures in the wood that hold it aloft. A river of the dead. So many bodies that the water seems to be gone. And you see something else. There's a single figure. Their back is turned to you, pulling themselves up off the ground. It's a female form, silhouetted by the fire. She's now standing, smoke billowing around her. What do you do?
Before I do anything with this person, do I see there's just no way to get back across the river to get back towards where the prison was?
Your best bet would be somewhere within Rivertown itself, which is on fire. There are boats and rafts, but you don't think that's a good idea.
I cautiously make my way towards the person that's getting up. I try to see if they're wearing the armor.
No armor. In fact, their clothing is tattered.
Hey, are you okay?
Oh, fuck.
I'm alive. As Dr. Sweets turns, her skin across her face and skull have been peeled away. Her neck is laid bare. You see gross, thick, clotted blood across muscle. Her chest has been ripped bare, and you see the fatty tissue of her breast hanging out as her ribs are exposed. Flesh stripped away, and underneath her chin is this strange, bulbous plant affixed to her, and it is pulsing purple and black as her eyes are no longer hers. Empty black pits. She turns, her teeth glinting in the firelight as you see her. Pale on the other side, she seems confused.
You're not alive, Sweets. This isn't it. I train my pistol at her head. Sorry, bud.
As you do so, I need you to roll 2 blue dice.
Oh.
9, 10 total.
You pull your pistol up. Go ahead and make a brawl. Roll for me, please, Doctor.
My favorite thing to do. That is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 4 degrees of failure.
You're out of competency, aren't you?
I have 1, so I can make that 3.
Do you want to? Survival point.
Sure. I have also... What a nice bit. I have a few survival points left. 30.
That's not enough.
Okay.
You have 1 competency point. Do you want to use it here?
Yes.
So you take it from 4 degrees of failure to 3.
Yes.
She moves far too quickly for someone who's dead. She grabs the gun and pulls it out of your hand. And then with her other hand, grabs you by the neck and flings you down to the ground. I'm alive. I'm still alive.
Okay. Okay, fine, you're alive. What do you want to do?
Hungry. So hungry. I'm hungry. I won't stop. It won't stop! 2 gunshots, silent, throw her off of your body. She rolls. As the armored figures start to make their way across the open space between you and her. You have 1 action.
I just stand up. Alright. What the fuck is this all about?
The tasers strike you and you go into a deep, dark, empty sleep. Everything goes dark. You're in the blackness of nothing. And then you hear it. Mommy. We'll see you next week.